Okay, moving on to the next question.
Both mayoral candidates mentioned the issue.
Please. Introduce yourself.
Yes, Eileen Michelson, 4809 Woodlands Boulevard. Both mayoral candidates mentioned about the fact that Tamarac appears to be ground zero for charter schools. What's the city doing to prevent charter schools on every block?
Who are you asking the question to?
The mayoral candidates.
Which one?
Both.
Would you like to first? I could talk about it. Okay.
The commission just tightened rules. There was an article in the Sun Sentinel regarding charter schools, so they're making it a little bit more difficult for charter schools to come in. The problem is, it's too late. So they voted down a dropout charter school that was trying to come into Tamarac. The people were against it, so they voted it down. But the attorney is going to sue the city of Tamarac, and they'll probably win because they did all the right steps and followed the law, and it was voted down. I believe that the commission did the right thing and took the bold step of voting it down, doing what the people wanted, but the code was not where it should be, and so they made the change afterwards. And so now it's more difficult for charter schools to come in, but we are going to have a litigation problem because the code wasn't tightened beforehand. And again, new blood, we'll do some benchmarking, figure out what's going on. The Sun Sentinel did many stories on charter schools that open up, take money from the school, and then shut down in 30 days. And this is something we should have foreseen coming on.
Thank you, Mike. When you're sitting in City Hall and you're sitting with the city attorney and you say to the city attorney, I don't want this, and he says, the state mandates it. And I say, well, what about the Broward County school system, who grants some kind of a license for the charter schools? And they just announce it to the city. Nobody asked us our approval. Again, the city's in a place where you have your hands tied. Okay, the issue is not newness or fresh eyes. The issue is integrity and leadership. And what I did is I planted a flag into the ground, given the fact that our code in this area, as Mike mentioned, was deficient, and we have since rewritten it and are rewriting the whole code. I put a flag in the ground, and I said, I will not approve this charter school, even though they may have met the conditions of some bogus, ancient, poorly written ordinance. But what it took was somebody with the integrity to say no, and say, I don't care what the code says. Under home rule, the city has the right to determine in the public interest what we think is good and what we think is not good. That takes experience, and it takes knowledge of the system in order to do that. So that's 30 seconds. So that's an issue not for somebody who doesn't have the experience dealing with these things and discussing litigation with lawyers. This is an issue for somebody who has extensive understanding of how litigation occurs and when you want to do it and when you don't want to do it. Because essentially, my and our position was simple. We say no, and if a judge wants to force us to do it, take the time you need, Mike.
So the mayor talked about integrity, which is on the front of my my flyer. So the attorney and lobbyist for these charter schools, his name is Keith Poliakoff, he reached out to me. I saw him at one of the commission meetings, and he asked what my opinion was on the charter school. And I made it clear that I didn't think it benefited the city. And it was at great risk financially for me to tell my true opinion, because obviously he's not going to donate to my campaign if I don't support his position. So after I gave him my response, he donated $500 to my opponent's account. So when I asked my campaign consultant what I should do in terms of answering the question, he said, look, you just need to raise money. So I did what I thought was the right thing to do and tell him my true opinion at the risk of not getting the money. But when a lobbyist invests in a candidate or a current mayor, they expect to get a return on that investment. And that same lobbyist is proposing another charter school coming up after the election. So you should consider that when you make your decision. Thank you.
I'll take a minute on this one. Mike doesn't understand how government works. He doesn't understand how financial campaigns work, and he doesn't understand clearly the ethics restraints that elected officials have. What Mike just described to you was a situation where there was a lawyer who was lobbying on behalf of a client who wanted to make a donation to my campaign, and I would not let him, because it is illegal and unethical to accept donations when anyone has business that's coming before the city commission. After the commission voted 5-0 to deny the application, he then made a contribution to my campaign. If you think that that buys you anything more maybe than access, then you don't understand how the process works.
Okay. Another question? Sharon?
My name's Sharon Barron, and I live in the Woodlands. I'm not going to stand. And I wanted to address two things, please. First thing is on what you were talking about with the donations. On around August 1st, Scott Backman donated to your campaign, and then on September 12th, y'all had a vote involving Scott Backman and the Titan Plaza. However, during that meeting, there was no disclosures that he had donated to the campaign. And I was wondering if this is an oversight or if this is perfectly legal.
And who you directed?
This is First One's to Harry.
I would never and have never taken a donation from anyone who had something pending in front of the commission. If Scott Backman made a contribution, it would have been in a situation where it was clear that he had nothing pending in front of the commission.
Less than 6 weeks later.
I would challenge your facts on that, ma'am. That's
Okay.
my answer.
Okay. It's in the documents. Okay, second question is for all the candidates. How do you feel about the new high school charter school that is being put out for proposal to charter school companies? Do you feel that is needed in our city?
Okay. You can start on the left.
Stewart?
2 minutes.
As an unabashed proponent of public schools, I have a concern. As a mentor, as a certified teacher, as a substitute teacher, I have a concern. And as I said before, I was the vice chair of the diversity committee of the school board. I would have to look very, very carefully at charter schools, and I continue to be concerned at the history of charter schools, at least in South Florida. Some are excellent, some are not so much. Thank God there has been a change in the code, so there can be more rigidity and more review
Okay,
before a
do you think
decision
we need
is
a high
made.
school here?
Sharon?
Just yes or no?
It's not for my decision, that's why you have a Broward County School Board. Now, when it comes, it's a Broward County to decide when and where they're going to put a school board in place. And then this is the second part of that is there needs to be a conversation with the city. Now, at the same time, here it is. At this particular time, there are a certain level of governance that I'm not aware of. Trust me, I know what I know, and I know what I don't know.
30 seconds.
And I know where to find the information about what I do know. And I'm not perfect, but I repeat, I know what I know, and I know what I do not know, and I absolutely know where to get the information necessary. I have Robert Runce's cell phone number. I have the staff, Tamarac administrative staff. So between those two, trust me, I will make sure that whatever is decision is comfortable to everyone. Thank you.
Michelle.
If I recall, the question is whether or not we think we need a charter school or a high school in the community. Okay. My opinion is that since Tamarac is changing, we do need something for our children to go forward to. We have 2 great elementary schools. We have 1 great middle school. We have looked for, my understanding in researching the past and being on the commission, is we tried to get a public school here, but we didn't have enough land. We were shy by 2 acres, and the school board at the time had bought enough property, and we were not going to be one of those properties, and therefore we could not get the school here, because at that time, the perspective was that we would not have enough children. Okay, times have changed, and obviously we are starting to have more and more children here. I do think that the city commission is doing what it needs to do, which is because the school board itself has said it's not going to give us a regular public school, so the city is putting out an RFP. And I think the only way for us to be able to know if this possible charter school is a good idea is to get the proposals, read the proposals, put it out to the community, and go from there. Without research and knowledge, then we can't determine if it's a good step. If we just cut it off without researching it, then we could possibly have cut our nose off to spite our face. So I do believe to look into the matter is important, and we go from there. And I think it'll take the whole community's involvement to determine whether or not it'll be a good choice.
Thank you. Michael?
I don't believe we need a charter school, a charter high school in the city of Tamarac. I don't know if it's on. Is this on?
Can you hear?
I don't think we need a charter high school in the city of Tamarac. I spoke to Superintendent Runcie and a high-level person at the school district, and we have capacity at Piper High School and Taravella High School. So we don't need a charter high school. What I don't like about the charter high school is if we can't offer the same amenities that Piper High School or Taravella can offer, then we're shortchanging our students. And I don't think that's fair. So I want to yield the rest of my time to Harry's last response about me not understanding lobbying or how the government works. I understand how lobbying works, and first of all, lobbying is legal. Lobbying is legal. I work for a publicly traded company. We have 400 government clients nationwide. We've never hired a lobbyist. We're thinking about doing business in Broward County. We've gone after government business in South Florida, and we lost every single time, even though we were the best choice. And finally, somebody said, look, you're not going to win anything unless you pay a lobbyist. So we interviewed 2 lobbying firms, 1 law firm. We're thinking about contracting with 1. And what lobbyists do, they rub shoulders, they take elected officials out, they try to build a relationship and influence a decision. That is legal. Lobbying is legal. All lobbyists must register with the state of Florida. Many lobbyists are attorneys, but I understand how lobbyists work. Thank you for your time.
In one sense, this is a silly discussion because everyone who's knowledgeable about how government works understands the role that lobbyists play.
School. Right.
Charter high school.
Yes or no? Do you have a high school?
No. You know, he was allowed to rebut something that came up 2 minutes ago.
After I answer the charter.
So I just wanted to make a quick comment, and then I'll be happy to address it. I just think fair is fair, and so did Joe, although he handed me the mic. You can go round and round on the value of lobbyists. I do it all the time myself. You know, you hire a lobbyist to go out and find money for you in Washington, D.C. or in Tallahassee, because they have relationships that you may not have. There are all kinds of incredible rules about it. They do not take us out to dinner or parties on boats. I can tell you that is not going to be the case. But a lobbyist has a value if they can find money sources for projects, which then relieves the taxpayer of having to come up with that cash. Now, with whatever time I have left to talk about the issue of the charter school, my honest answer is all we've done on the city commission level is say to staff who wanted to RFP and explore this, all we have said so far is go ahead. There's been no further discussion at a workshop or at a city commission meeting. So the issue is there's good things, bad things.
30 seconds.
I'll take 30 seconds. I can finish that. Yeah, 30 seconds. You have good charter schools, you have bad charter schools. We know that. You have good doctors, you have bad doctors, and all of the rest of it. You know, whether a high school from a high quality educational group can offer something that we currently do have, right now I cannot honestly say anyone's approached us with that because we have not discussed it. So that's a bridge we'll burn, I guess, when we get there.
Thank you. Next question from the audience, please. Back there, and then that would be next.